And we're back with some more oxygen not included. And today, well, today things are going to go, well, a little bit backwards. You see, about 2 episodes ago, come back with me here, we had just finished off doing this beautiful industrial sauna. We hadn't actually got around to doing the slickster farms yet, but it had been a long episode. We'd put all of this together, it was beautiful. We'd also done this here, this little cooling solution that was cooling down our food. So we'd sorted our food, we'd sorted our industrial sauna, we'd moved all the critters out of here to over there. We'd done quite a bit of renovations. It was like a day and a half of work. All done, finished. I'd got the recording done, had it all set to go out the door. And then after I had it recorded, uploaded, I came back in here to do something and I noticed something. This was not loading up properly. Our Radbolt engine was not getting filled nearly as quickly. There was something wrong with our radiation production. Can you see it? Can you see the problem? Yeah, there's a hole right there. It turns out one of these Radbolt generators, well, they melted. I forgot about them at some point and they melted, but that's fine. They're just going to fall down, whatever liquid, and evaporate into the background of space. I kind of anticipated that, wasn't too worried about it. Unfortunately, I made them out of obsidian, which was a mistake, because obsidian melts at, where is it? 2726.9 C. Somehow, this heat managed to interact with something in the surroundings. I don't know exactly what, but if I had to guess, maybe it was the power cables made of cobalt. That cobalt only has a melting point of, where is it? Yeah, 1494 degrees. And unfortunately, the copper has a melting point of, where is it? Yeah, 1083. So whatever happened, it melted something, turned it into gas, which then melted a tile. And then our radiation escaped. Yep, our rads were down to like 440. We'd basically lost several tons. What alerted me even more was, yeah, where is it? If we get temperature, this place is actually really toasty warm. In fact, that whole place is over 100 degrees. I think this stuff exploded out and flooded the area. It would also explain why there was a bunch of radiation stuff here. I thought some people had been hit by Radbolts or something, but no. This whole place got covered in nuclear waste. There was about 2,000 tons of the stuff in there, and it exploded out. This left me with a horrible problem. The thing is, it had happened so long ago, long before this had been done and this had been done, that all the autosaves were gone. There was no autosave anytime in a reasonable time frame where I could go back and fix this. My only option was to go back to before all of this was made and redo the industrial sauna and this thing from scratch, so that I could get all the rads back. I desperately needed those rads because otherwise I wouldn't be able to produce enough diamond to get on the drill cones to knock out the achievement in time. However, I wussed out. Yep, I absolutely wussed out. I filled this back in again and I cheated in a bunch of nuclear waste because I didn't want to go back and do the whole episode again. I basically just, no, I was like, fine, I'll do this. Otherwise I'm going to have to spend hours doing it. And I'm like, nope. Yeah, I basically wimped out in it. Sorry, I tried to keep it as normal as possible, you know, just put in the exact same amount of nuclear waste that we had in there originally so I wasn't getting any more extra. I thought, you know, this will be fine. This won't affect the game in any way. I can just go on. But no, then I saw a printout from the gate that was like, oh, what would you call them? Shovel legs. I'm like, no. And now the save is just totally contaminated for me. I can't do it. It just feels wrong. Like, this is just, it's not right anymore. Maybe I'm weird on this, but yeah, I'm just going to go back and redo it from this point. In fact, actually, no, I can't do it from this point. I have to go back 1 second. This point. This was the point where we had just finished all of those lead atmosuit docks, and we have to do a whole bunch of renovations. But hey, don't worry, I'm not going to inflict all of that on you. Yeah, sorry I did this. I should have just went back immediately, cancelled the episode, and just redid everything from scratch, loaded back up to save. I just felt that pressure to get the episode out, as opposed to just actually playing the game properly. Sorry. Now, we're not going to do things identically the same, namely because we learned some things from constructing the last ones. In this, we've got the gas cooling loop cooling down our food, but we don't have it cooling down the steam turbine. For that, we've actually hooked up the aquatuner to cool down the steam turbine. It was pointed out in the comments that later on when we start using the steam turbine for a lot of stuff, the heat it generates would probably fasten to the hydrogen and overheat our food. So why not? Let's just fix that now. Down here, we've actually ripped all of this out already, and what we're going to do is, I should have done this actually ages ago, we're going to load this up with a bunch of tiles, and then we're going to run a bunch of cold water through it. That will allow us to run a bunch of cold water from over here, well, below 30-degree water through here and start cooling this area down, because it's a little bit warm over here. We heated it up to mutate some plants. By throwing through some cold water, we can start planting bristle blossoms here, and then those bristle blossoms will start mutating and hopefully get us all of those exuberant seeds we're going to need so much. There we go. We've got a whole bunch of plants back there, and they're all consuming water, and the pipes behind them are all radiant, so they'll slowly drag all that water through there, cooling down this place, which is good. We eventually, all the 3 remaining plants we've got can work at sub-zero temperatures, so we're going to be needing to getting this down into really cold ranges anyway, so we might as well start that now. And over here, we need to rip all of this out because we got to transfer all of these critters across. That's, yeah, that's awkward. But yeah, give me 1 second. This here is going to be our critter storage. We just dump all the wild ones here so that they don't die and we have a backup reserve. And oh my god, how did you end up down there? Yeah, the odd one does manage to slip through the net, but I didn't really cover this last time around. Oh, over here we stick our poke shells. No one's allowed in there. They just drop off any eggs that are found around the map. So if we print any more poke shells, all the eggs get tossed in there and they just stay in there and be nice and angry all the time. Every so often we come along and whisk out all of the poke shell molts. That's it. Now, this entire area needs to be stripped out. All of those water tanks need to be moved. This place needs to be turned into back into a sauna. This time around, we've made a little bit of a different decision when it comes to our Slickster Ranch. Instead of taking all the liquid CO or the solidified CO2 and throwing it around here to get cooled down, we've thrown it in here. That way all the CO2 should bubble up and eventually it'll push all the steam out. Well, theoretically, if we have enough CO2 in here. Now to make that CO2 actually, well, change from solid CO2 into liquid and then into gas without freezing everything in here, because we need to keep this place pretty warm. What we've done is we put a layer of oil down here. So that liquid oil is touching these tiles. These tiles are actually touching this obsidian through here. So these should be getting quite warm. And then it's transferring its temperature up to the oil above it. That layer of oil here is whisking away the heat, but then it immediately... Oh, what the hell's going on there? No, don't put that out on the rail. This should only be turning the CO2 that's in it into gaseous CO2, which spreads out and slowly starts filling up this area. So every time that melts, a new ton of it is put in, and oh my god, I think that it melted instantly, did it? There you go, look. 980 kilos of CO2, and then it quickly starts changing temperature. Once the temperature has, I think it's 58, you know what, we'll find out in a second. That blobs up, we get CO2, and the CO2 slowly starts spreading up and up and up. Oh, come on. Come on. Done. Another blob of CO2. So soon they'll be in CO2, and the carbon dioxide down there is slowly but surely getting converted. It doesn't actually... I tried converting it other ways, but putting this on top of a tile just doesn't work. Putting it inside the conveyor loader does seem to help. Oh, okay. That's our industrial sauna almost back to normal. Almost. There we go. Glass forge, molecular forge, we're just about sorted. It's a little bit cold over this side. It hasn't quite hit 100 degrees, but give it some time. That'll be fine. Over here, we've got all our refinement back up and running, and, well, there was some minor complications here. By dumping all the CO2 in here, we've actually driven down the temperature to about 20 to 30 degrees. So we've been sticking in temperature shift plates, trying to just drag as much temperature across in here as we can. Because, very soon now, that last remaining, like, there's only 7.7 tons of the CO2 left. We put in 40 tons of minus 79 C CO2, and, yeah, temperature's not perfect just yet. But up here you'll notice there's actually a little blob of liquid. We stuck down a blob of naphtha there, and then we put this door on top. What this allows us to do is something a little like this. We can just open the door, and that starts to actually push out the steam. The steam is heavily compressed. It's up to 700 kilos in there. And you notice it's actually forcing the steam out slowly but surely. And once it gets to the top, we can close the door. And well, we should, hopefully, if we do it right, only have carbon dioxide left in here, or only a small bit of steam. And then the stickers can start chewing through it over time. which would be good because I want to start getting the eggs out of there. At some point, they're going to start reproducing. But we could probably get this out of the way with pretty quick. After all of that, we're now back to exactly where we started. Yeah, yeah, that's our first batch of fullerene. After going to the water planet, doing all the things, redoing everything. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. On one hand, this feels sort of insane. I know, it's like, why bother? Is it really worth that much? Well, kind of. I mean, that was just bugging the absolute hell out of me. I kind of let getting the episode out in time get in the way of actually doing the game right. But at the same time, was that a good thing? Should I have just let it slide? I mean, would it really have affected people's enjoyment? Well, it would have affected mine, I suppose. You know what? Too complicated. I did what I had to do. It's done now. We're back to where we were. Now, Sleet Wheat Farm. I'm going to want one. And probably I'm going to have to think about all the rest of it in the background. Sleet Wheat Farm up here. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do this one, but we now have this super coolant necessary to make a pretty decent one. I'm thinking we'll put an aqua tuner down here, and then we'll turn this into an ice box. Though there's not really a lot of room to make a good one. Let me think. Building this is going to be, well, fairly straightforward, if a little bit dumb. We're going to put a mechanized airlock there, surrounded with metal tiles on all sides, and just use it as a heat injector. Well, temperature injector. We'll freeze this down to some massively cold number, and then we'll take this over here as our control, and we'll set this to about 0 degrees. That way we can rotate cold water through here constantly, or, well, okay, about 2 degrees, and then we can keep rotating the water through here. As in, this will rotate through here, bringing cool water to all of the Sleet Wheat, making sure they're all functioning correctly. And we can keep injecting in more water, which will be warmer, of course, but that should... Oh, wait. Damn it, now I have to rethink this. We want to inject the warmer water after it's gone, or after it goes through the crops, but before it goes through the cooling loop. Damn it. God damn it, Brendan. Not today. Come on. Seriously? Get out of there, you muppet. Also, take the aluminum with you. We're going to be replacing that in a second. Bloody dupes. Filling these things up with water, it would be a good idea to maybe use cool water, because we're going to be chilling this down to almost 0 degrees. So a good choice in here would be, where do we have it? Yes, ice temperature shift plates. So that's 800, that's 1600 kilos of water. We're going to need, well, 3 tons of this stuff. But those two should melt rather quickly and go down there. Those temperature shift plates in there are made of diamond. That's to help spread the temperature out. And I don't want to put a temperature shift plate this side. Just more a case of it'll end up injecting temperature into those insulated tiles no matter where I put it. So it doesn't seem like a really useful thing. We'll get enough. If we chill it cold enough, it won't really make a difference anyway. Alright, well, hopefully this will get us enough water. If it doesn't, we can always pump this stuff in. I just rather do it the quick way. Now, if we've done this right, those temperature shift plates should rapidly dump a bunch of temperature into the surrounding environment. And then, oh wow. Okay, how cold is that stuff? Minus 15. Right. They'll probably still melt soon enough. Much better idea. Hook it up to the solar panels. The solar panels could use some temperature. Go on, please tell me it's chilling those down. I had no idea, but it turns out temperature shift plates don't interact with solar panels. That should be injecting chill right into that. Learn something new every day. Alright, well, we're waiting for that ice to melt, and we'll put in another, say, 3 temperature shift plates down there, and another temperature shift plate down there. We're going to go down here and put ourselves in an aqua tuner. I've made out some space here, and I'm thinking... Ooh, yeah, we'll rotate it there? Or wait, maybe down a chunk. As you can see, it's getting a little crowded. Yeah, I'm going to say a little crowded. Oh, God. Getting the water into the system is also going to be an interesting challenge, but we'll sort something out. It can't be that bad. Right, we'll let this finish off, and once we've got all of the bits and pieces in place, we'll start throwing in the supercoolant and chilling down this area over here. All of our efforts to get the water in here have just resulted in stuff freezing, but it's fine, it's fine. Also, we have learned that solar panels just don't interact with temperature shift plates. Look at this. They don't care. I have no idea why. But that temp shift plate should melt eventually. It's going down at a reasonable rate. But in here, we're going to have to do well, we're going to have to try something a little bit more stringent. And by that I mean, we're going to throw some supercoolant into the cooling loop without cooling it first. So some hot supercoolant will come around through that. Yeah, that's such a pretty, really consistent, easy to follow pipe segment. But don't worry, it'll make far more sense once we throw in some supercoolant in there. Here comes one of our people now. Come on, put it in there. Perfect. So the supercoolant gets put in there. That gets picked up and sent across here. How hot is it? 80 degrees, 60, yep, fine. We're not actually cooling any of it yet, and it goes up here, rotates through. And it dumps off a bunch of its heat, because yes, it's rather hot right now. That should hopefully melt all the stuff that's in there. And why is that ice not melting? Damn it, we're a little bit short, aren't we? Ah! Tell you what, we will sweep the ice out of there, and we will put in another temperature shift plate that can hopefully do something better. Oh, that's not going to melt, is it? It's at minus 2.1. It's going to take forever. Get out of here. One last ice temperature shift plate should fit in there and melt and give us... Yeah, excellent. Now we can just seal that off. Nope, don't worry, we'll build that last tile diagonally and just crush the remaining gases in there. And that gives us a perfect little chill box that we can freeze down to ridiculously low temperatures. And that temp shift plate still has not melted. Come on, hurry up. And if you'll observe, we have this filled up, well, not quite with 1 ton of water all across the top. It's 8.66, but I wasn't going to bother putting in any more. And in here we've got almost exactly 4 tons of water. That should make sure that we've got a nice cool ice box here to work with. Now, this place is rather close to this place, and we got to chill this down quite cold, and we don't want it interfering with our bristle blossoms. So what we've done here is we're going to put in sort of a little liquid lock here, or a vacuum seal. Where is it? Give me some naphtha on both of those points right there. In fact, ooh, you know what? Yeah, we'll enable auto bottle for you, and then we'll make you a level 9 or something like that. We're going to let one blob of naphtha get put down there, and then any leftover naphtha will dump into the other bottle empty here. Here comes Scott. Now, we only need a bit of a blob. We don't need that much. How much is actually in that? You know what? That's plenty. And then we'll grab that naphtha there, and we'll sweep it up, and they should put it into either bottle emptier. That is giving us, yes, we're making really, really tiny liquid locks. And then, oh God. They picked it up, dragged it one tile, and then decided it was lunchtime. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know what? We're gonna... Sexy? I bet Sexy's half a map away. Come on. Move that naphtha in there. Perfect. What do we got? What are we dealing with here? We got 126. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 30. Boom. Now you can take the rest of that back. If you've done that correctly, perfect. We now have nothing but, well, carbon dioxide in there. You know what? We'll spit that out this side. We enable this gas pump. That will suck all the gas out of here. And then we've got a perfect vacuum seal between here and here, meaning the temperature in here should not be able to interfere with the temperature over there. And then we're going to hook up the water. Now, the way the water works is this. Oh, God. We have the water that's going up to the bristle blossoms. That's usually actually below 30 degrees. So we'll have that come over here, go across the top. We don't want to interfere with the crops. Down here and get injected into this loop, where it'll come across here and just keep rotating around and around. And oh, looks like someone's home. Ah, Zap's back. That was Zap's last scouting mission. So I think we're going to let them back inside. They can now start wearing suits again. Doors permissions change. Zap should now be able to get inside the base. Where are you going? Nope, nope, nope. I want you to go and immediately grab an Atmo suit, if you wouldn't mind, buddy. Now, where were we? Yes. We were going to start this cooling loop up. Oh, and someone turn on that gas pump. So, cooling loop water is coming around here and gets injected in. That should flow around. And these plants are going to consume a small amount of the water, but even if they're not, it should still keep rotating. Perfect. All right, it's not going to be that great at the start because we haven't actually turned on this cooling over here. This cooling is not activated, so let's make this, oh, if the temperature is above minus 30 should be more than enough. Actually, that might be too much. Let's make it minus 15 to start. If we need more, we can always crank it up. There we go. It's already hitting that to minus 9. All right, easy peasy. And over here, have we got ourselves a vacuum seal? Yes, we do. So as you can see, because there's a vacuum seal here and insulated tiles in the middle, there should be no way for the temperature in here to affect the temperature over there. Which, yeah, perfect. All it took was a couple of bottle emptiers and some naphtha. All right, let's give this a few minutes to cool down. And then once it's cooled down, what we'll do is we'll activate these hydroponic farm tiles. Never plant sleet wheat and then just leave it there. Because what happens is it still consumes dirt. Even if you don't have water going to it, it will still consume dirt, which is kind of pointless. In fact, I'll turn one of these on here so you can see. Let's enable that building. All right, here comes the farming materials. Delivered 15 kilos of dirt. Okay, there's the 15 kilos of dirt, and yep, see, it's actually using the dirt. We're down to 14.9 kilos, even though the plant's not actually growing. So I've lost dirt in the past to that. Yeah, 14.8. So as you can see, even if they're not growing, they'll still consume the dirt. So make sure you have the temperature set correctly or disable all of the tiles. I do this to save sleet wheat for later for when I want to use it. I'll usually plant them, but you always have to make sure once it's planted, disable it, otherwise it'll consume all the dirt. Even if I disable the tile now, it'll still eat all that dirt. So you can see all of these, they have no dirt in them, namely because the plants ate it all, even though they didn't need it. After letting all that water rotate through for a while, it's now down to about 2.9. So it's coming at 3.8, going out at 2.9. This thing is set so that it will keep drawing, well, it'll keep these doors closed, drawing temperature out of here until the temperature in here gets to 2. Once it gets to 2, hey, do you want to stop? No, it's still not quite at 2, it seems. It will keep rushing around there, and I think all of these are ready to go. Oh, there we go. See? It's finally decided that everything is the correct temperature, and yes, they are. So we get to enable all of these. Enter is the shortcut for enable, disable. It's really helpful in a situation like this. With all of those starting to be enabled, they'll start getting dirt, and then they'll start growing, and they're all in, well, 349 rads. I can't wait till we get some mutated ones. We won't get many mutated ones here because, well, that's not a lot of rads compared to the amount they can handle. So at some point we're going to have to come down here and start mutating them in this section. But the temperatures down here, well, we'll have to do something about that. The temperatures down here are not nearly low enough for that. Right now we're trying to mutate as many bristle blossoms as we can because we want those bristle blossoms to get exuberant variants. Like if we check under bristle blossoms here, you'll see we've got 4 easygoing, 1 specialized, lycee, all these ones. But we've only got 3 exuberant, and exuberant are just the best. Namely because of how awesome they are. Their life cycle is minus 75%. In other words, they grow 4 times faster. They're just the best. Of all the mutated plants, this version is by far the best of all of them. Also, they drop 4 kilos of rot pile when they are harvested, meaning you get 4 kilos of basically dirt out of them every time you use them. They give you food poisoning, but who cares? And they require darkness, as in they can't grow in light. So your bristle blossoms, which used to take light to grow, now don't need light and grow 4 times faster. True, they take 50% more resources to actually, they consume 50% more water per cycle, but who cares if they grow 4 times faster? It still works out as a massive saving. When we can get that for the sleet wheat, we will be sorted. Now that we actually have locally sourced sleet wheat, we can actually pull back our colony from this teleporter planet. We don't need this anymore. The only reason I was keeping this going was for all the wild sleet wheat, but if we're growing our own, do we really care anymore? Yeah, we can bring everyone home, abandon this planet. There's no need to keep anyone here, and we can bring those 2 home and make them productive members of this colony. I think next up, we're going to use that supercoolant to make liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, just so we can finish scouting out the last of the map. As well as that, we're going to need a lot more cargo rockets. There's a whole bunch of stuff out here we have to get. That reminds me, we knocked out an achievement. Basically, we finished the last research, so the research tree has been entirely completed. Zap was home, our scientist, and I basically just let him finish out the research tree. So that knocked us out 1 more achievement. Yeah, was it honorary doctorate? Unlock every item in the research tree. But the 2 most important ones, or the 2 most difficult ones, we have 200 tons of the 1,000 tons we need from Mind the Gap. That one we're going to start working on heavily once we've got the liquid oxygen and hydrogen up and running. And over here we've got the gas grass, Dasha saltvine, and nosh sprout. We have to get all 3 of those plants, and we have to mutate them at least once, or identify 1 mutation of them. That's actually not too bad. All we have to do is pop over here to Heferato and grab ourselves the Dasha, the whatever, the gassy grass thing, and the gaseous moo. And Frostona over here has the actual, oh, the other ones, the salt vine and the nosh sprout. So once we grab those two, we'll have that knocked out. That should be most of the difficult ones. But anyway, I am obviously way over time. So this episode took a little bit longer than normal because I've had to redo everything. Apologies again for not just doing that straight up. That was pointless. Never mind. I'll think about more than that in the background. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck. Wait. I figured it out. I know why this was bugging me so much. It was basically a lie. That was it. I made the change in between episodes, and I justified it to myself as, hey, I'm just saving myself 8 hours. But I didn't actually tell anyone, did I? I just made the change, and then effectively hid it. It was a lie by omission, by not actually telling anyone. And I should have actually done the work. I should have actually done the work instead of just pretending I'd done it. That was pointless. Sorry. That's, yeah. Lie by omission. Sorry about that. Won't happen again.